Hello, everyone. I want to say welcome. Welcome to a beautiful educational program I'm about to share with you pertaining to a miraculous healing tree that can do wonders for heartburn, GERD, esophagitis, gastritis, colitis, anything that's inflamed in the gastrointestinal system. It can do wonders. This is something that's not so heard of in Northern America, although this particular tree comes from Northern America as well as Quebec in Canada. This has been used for numbers of different ailments to inflammatory conditions. There are millions of people worldwide who are on proton pump inhibitors as well as H2 blockers, Tums, all other types of over-the-counter medications for gastritis and heartburn and gastric reflux. I want to say hello to all of my live chatters out there. We are broadcasting live worldwide as we are streaming live at this late time at night. Although I want to say hello and welcome to our people and friends over on the other side of the country, like in Japan and China. I know you are 12 hours apart. A dear family member is over there right now listening in China, in Beijing. I want to say hello with much love. I really hope that you enjoy this. Let's move right abouts so we can get this stuff under control. This is a tree, and this tree, obviously, as I say, primarily in Northern America, right here where we are, this has tremendous healing properties like you cannot even imagine. This is something, even for like sore throats, gastritis, burning, colitis. The list goes on, which I'll touch on in just a few. But let's talk about some common things. I'm actually going to go over some testimonials that I'm going to pull up and just mention how this has changed people's lives. I'm going to talk a little bit about H2 blockers. I'll talk a little bit about proton pump inhibitors. Many people out there are on these, and we'll explain what they are, a little bit about the difference. GERD is nothing to really be happy about. Millions of people have it. It's gastroesophageal reflux disease. This is primarily when the whatever is in your stomach, the muscle at the end of the esophagus is not doing its job, and it doesn't close properly, and this allows the stomach contents to leak backwards or reflux upwards, causing irritation in the esophagus, esophageal inflammation. And obviously this burns. You know, when people say, I have burning in my chest, that's from the reflux of the acid. This is a very serious problem because this can really lead to lots of conditions if you don't take care of it. So generally the physicians out there and doctors are going to give you an acid blocker, which I'm going to explain right now. The two different kinds. Let's go over here. These are the proton pump inhibitors that we primarily hear about. These are our Prilosec, our Nexium, our Prevacid. Many people out there can relate to it, including myself. I was on Prevacid quite a while. I had this constant burning until I really changed my diet. Going back many years ago, this is how I become so educated because I learned the hard way. And there are certain foods like sugars and starches and a lot of even proteins that become acidic in our system that can lead to this acid, as well as eating too late, big meals, heavy fat meals before you go to bed, sleeping in a position where you're lying on your back right after a meal. You may want to be on an incline. There's lots of little tips, and I'll go more into that later. But when we talk about proton pump inhibitors, as you see these right here, and as we talk about the H2 blockers, as we see these right here, the Zantac, the Tagamet, the Pepcid, the difference is this. The proton pump inhibitors and the H2 blockers, they work similar when it comes to relieving the symptoms. But the key similarity to both of them is that they suppress the gastric acid secretion in the stomach. But they are different, very different. This is how they work. The proton pump inhibitors shut down the proton pumps in the stomach. So in other words, that is kind of like the sledgehammer. So before you ever go to a proton pump inhibitor, if you don't have to, and I'll tell you why, the H2 blockers work by blocking the histamine receptors in the acid-producing cells in the stomach. So basically what's happening here is that the H2 blockers you have to take more frequently. The proton pump inhibitors, because it's blocking it, the total acid secretion, the problem with this, they are quite addicting, and the problem with this is that when you want to get off of these proton pump inhibitors, you have a rebound effect. In other words, probably within the first 5 to 7 days, or somewhere within that time, you're going to get more acid. So you sometimes have to stick it out, because that's where the addiction comes in. Because as soon as someone tries to lay off their proton pump inhibitor, they start saying, God, all this burning again. And what do? You run right back to it again. You never get off. Okay? And gastroenterologists and those type of physicians will say, no problem, stay on it. Here is the big problem. I know I'm getting a little bit off the topic here, but I have to say this, is that this will screw up your calcium absorption. This will screw up the calcium in the bones. It will screw it up. Osteopenia, osteoporosis, because there's no acid. You need acid to absorb calcium. So that is something very important. I need to really spend a program just doing that. So I just wanted to summarize that very, very quickly. Okay, so let's move on a little bit here. Let's come on back to this slippery elm tree. And let me go into a couple important things I think that are really important. There's a lot of things that this does. Realize that this is a demulcent, and this demulcent in this slippery elm is what relieves inflammation and irritation. This is a substance that relieves the irritation of the mucous membranes in the mouth and the throat all the way down. It protects it by forming a protective film over the mucous membranes. Now, I love this stuff. I take this stuff. To me, I think it's a miracle type of thing. It's safe. There's like no side effects. All I would tell people is if you're on certain types of certain medications, you might want to take them apart, not together, okay, just because of the assimilation. But from my studies, I don't see like any side effects. This is something that's been around a long time. Just many people out there, particularly in Canada and in the United States, even though it's here, are not really familiar with this. So it's my job here to really give you a little bit of education on this, and we'll move through it real quick. GERD, as we talked about, this chronic disease, very, very common. The backflow goes up into the esophagus, back up in the stomach into the esophagus, and the type of this type of slippery elm that we're talking about, which is what I'm showing you here, and I'm going to show you vitamins, and I'll explain to you more thoroughly what it is, what it looks like, tell you about dosages. This prevents irritation. This causes the coating. This is something you can take in capsules. You can take it in lozenges. You can take it in the powder. You can mix it, and I'll go over a few different things. So those are really the main things there. Generally, when you look at, like for a tea, taking like 2 cups of boiling tea, about 2 tablespoons of the powder, and you can get this on Amazon and health food stores. You can let it seep for a few minutes, and then you can actually let it cool down. You can mix it with other teas if you want. You could put honey in it. You could be very creative. I like the capsules. I don't want to jump the gun. I'll come to that in just a second. So this slippery elm is pretty miraculous. When I say miraculous, because of the fact that we're looking at situations of gastritis. We're looking at IBS, we're looking at colitis, we're looking at Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome. There are so many different ailments in the gastrointestinal system where this has done really wonders for people. Now, this has actually helped tremendous amount of other conditions, which I don't want to go into, but conditions even like hemorrhoids, diarrhea, constipation. They've gone into situations talking about tooth pain. They say that if you just take this and put it on the tooth, or on an early cavity, that will actually help prevent the decay of the tooth. I mean, there's some really cool stuff in here that I really don't want to go deep into right now, because I want to focus just on this, get to the point across, do your research, get to Google, start doing this kind of stuff, hopefully get off your medication, those H2 blockers or those heavy proton pump inhibitors. And again, if you're loading yourself up with calcium just by Tums, you're killing the acid. You need that acid for digestion. The majority of people who have stomach ailments and stomach problems is low on acid. They're not high on acid, they're low on acid. So the studies show that when you start increasing hydrochloric acid with your food, increasing your enzymes, your food enzymes with food, it's going to help you. And sometimes as we get older, and many of us, we lose our enzymes and we're not digesting our food, and we get this reflux, we get this improper digestion, and we start getting burning and pain. So I'm trying to really get you to do things conservatively first. This is something you can use really like any time. This absorbs toxins in the intestines. It helps irritable bowel syndrome. The heartburn is amazing. For sore throats, you have sore throats, a sore throat, it is amazing. Let's go and take a look a little bit what it looks like here, because I know you're anxious to get a little idea what this thing looks like. Let's move off of here. Here is the lozenges. This is a very common. Thayer's is probably the most common I've seen. This is a little sampler. It shows different flavors, the original, like a maple syrup. They have sugar-free ones as well. But this is a great slippery elm. These are generally, I believe, 150 milligrams. Generally, when you take the capsules here, these are generally 400 milligrams. You can take 1, 2 at a time. It's not going to hurt you. You could do it several times a day. But a lot of people will go ahead and they'll just take 1 with each meal, or maybe take just in the morning and may not have to take it maybe until they go to bed. But you have to kind of play with it and see what works best with you. Here is the powder. Here is another company. And I'm here not pushing these companies. These are good companies, but you can go to Amazon, do your homework on slippery elm, read a lot of those types of reviews. I think those are really important. Those reviews make a huge difference, which I'm going to go over a couple of them with you right now. So those are the primary things. You have the powders, you have the capsules. Now, I like the capsules. Why do I like the capsules? Because you can just open the capsule up. You already know how many milligrams it is. That is your dosage. You can take 2 or several of these at a time. It's not going to hurt you, but you have to kind of find what works best for you, your balance. But this will really help you. You get sore throats, suck on the slippery elm lozenges. You got that burning, start putting that slippery elm in there, and you can start playing with it, and you're going to say, wow, I just can't believe these conditions are just subsiding. It's really a great thing, and I thought it was really important to share this with people out there, because we're not exposed to these kind of things, and my job is I want to help people naturally, and I think this is a great thing to understand. Just a couple quick things I want to review with you. Here is a couple quick testimonials here. This person he's been through all types of gastroenterologists, had all kinds of blood tests, had colonoscopy, endoscopies. They couldn't find anything. Obviously, they said, you have gastritis. This fellow was even vomiting, and this really changed his life. Here's another person here, just irritable bowel syndrome, changed their life. Diverticulitis. This person says, I won't ever be without this ever again. I mean, these things are really touching when you start reading this. If you start going to Amazon and start reading these things, you're really gonna say, wow, this is me. Here's a person who says, I've been having IBS flare-ups and eating something that doesn't agree with me. I've been through the whole realm until I came across these slippery elms that really saved my life. People giving these to their pets, I don't recommend that. If you have stomach issues, this person says this product is definitely your solution. I take two first thing in the morning with warm lemon water, and 2 or 3 before I go to bed with a little bit warm lemon water, and it soothes my belly aches, and whatever problem you have with digestion, it takes it right away. Here's another person. I've used this for 30 years. Great for tummy issues. Helps soothe. Great for digestion issues. Great for heartburn. This is quite interesting. And they go on and on and on. Here's a person that says it's cured my colitis. Here's another one that says severe gastritis. He's been through the whole gamut. of aloes and doctors and H2 blockers, and this is something that just changed their life. Here's another one, eased my stomach issue. So really, what are we looking at? We're looking at something that works as something that can coat on the mucous membranes within the gastrointestinal system that will allow the system to repair and heal, to reduce inflammation. Realize that any and all conditions you're suffering from GERD to gastritis to colitis to IBS to Crohn's disease, are all inflammatory problems. The purpose of the slippery elm is to reduce inflammation and coat it and soothe it. If you can get relief, God bless you. I really hope that you'll put this to work, and hopefully you will share this video, because there are so many people out there. This is a multi-million, billion-dollar business out there, and the pharmaceutical companies out there selling these H2 blockers, proton pump inhibitors are in every drugstore along the whole world, and they're just putting these people, just throwing them in these people's, and they're expensive, and they're just prescribing them and just throwing it in your basket. Just take it every day. It's okay, take it every day. They all have side effects. When you block acid, you block calcium, you are going to be prone to osteopenia, osteoporosis, and you are going to start having problems. I promise you. It's no threat. I can tell you it will affect the absorption of calcium when you don't have acid. So I hope you will subscribe to my channel. I will continue to come out here and do these live feeds. Check out my channel. Lots of great information. God bless everyone, and keep it healthy. All right? Bye-bye now.